everybody, and welcome back to Julia at Home. Today I'm going to talk to you about my kindergartner's curriculum for the 2024 to 2025 academic school year. Of course, we are already in it, but I do like to make these videos to look back later, and it might help you for next year or just give you some ideas. So if you haven't already though, make sure you check out my family subjects video. I will have it linked here and in the description box below, because she's doing a bunch of different subjects with us as a family. So all 4 of my kids and me together, as well as some subjects that I'm aiming at her and her preschool aged brother. So yes, there's a lot of good things in there, and I have the specifics there. So go check that one out if you haven't. Today I'm just going to be focusing on the subjects that I'm working on just with her individual subjects. I'm going to start with math. So I use kind of my own thing that I put together for this age, and that is a combination of Montessori materials and methods and Charlotte Mason materials and methods inspired by this Simply Charlotte Mason program that they put together with Rochelle Barberina. I'm not sure if I'm saying the name right, but I had years ago, I got a DVD that they had how they would do Charlotte Mason math presentations, and they usually started this in like 1st grade, so I'm a little bit early for what they would do. But Montessori starts numbers and math earlier, around 4 years old. So we've already done the introduction to numbers, which I have a video in here and I'll show you that. And now we're into doing more of the combined thing. And I did a separate video on how I put that together for my oldest several years ago, so I will link that here. And I'm still using the outline that I used for that. The only difference is I actually have a physical book now. The Simply Charlotte Mason came out with this. It's the Charlotte Mason Elementary Arithmetic Series, book 1. And this is not a book that like my child writes in. Basically, it gives me, it's the same like outline I was using before for the Charlotte Mason style questions, but it gives me actual questions. So it just lessens the brain work I have to do. So I appreciate that in this stage. So, and again, that's the name of the person. I'm not sure if it's showing there. And that's Rochelle Barberina did this program. So I use this, which is a difference because it wasn't available before. But otherwise, yes, that's what we're doing moving forward with math with this, as well as Montessori materials. And some of the things we're covering is, we're going through each of the numbers and kind of exploring each of the single digit numbers and like finding them and making sure we can write them and things like that. Then there'll be an exploration of 10 and what 10 means. And then we'll go into teens and like counting by tens and some skip counting and stuff. And she's also already had an introduction to a simple addition and subtraction. So we'll continue on with that. So that's kind of where we are. We're kind of doing a lot of things at once. But by the end of the year, she should have an idea of the, be able to do simple addition and subtraction problems, write them with the symbols, and also have like the concept of like teens and tens up through 100. So yeah, that's what we're working on right now. Next is reading, which is obviously a high priority. And we've been doing a Montessori style phonics for a while now. She's done the sandpaper letters, which are these. We do them in cursive. So we learn in cursive first and then also print. So she's at the point now where we're still using the sandpaper letters for, she should know all of the sounds, and also for writing. But we're also matching it with the print because she's starting to read. And most books are in print. So I've been continuing on some of our phonics exercises and then just doing a lot of practice reading with early readers. We've started with this series, which all of my kids have really enjoyed. There's Animal Antics. It's the Now I'm Reading for beginning readers, and this is level 1. They have Animal Antics, and I also have one called Big Fun, which is more of a sports themed one. And then they have level 2, and they might also have level 3. I have one of their level 2s. And this comes with like 10 little books. I'll actually grab, this is the one she's working on now. And yeah, they're really simple. And so I try to get her to read a couple pages a day, and then, depending on how long they are. And then when she finishes reading a book, we put it on her reading caterpillar on the wall. And when it reaches the end of the wall section it's at, she's gonna get a treat. So that is good incentive, and I think she's been enjoying these quite a bit. I also intend to start her on Logic of English Foundations A. sometime this year. We're not quite there yet. I'm thinking maybe when we start school again after our winter break, so like January-ish, we might dive into that. I've done that with 2 kids so far, so she'll be the 3rd kid I do it with. I don't have it. It's downstairs in the basement still, so I don't have it to show you right now, but I have actually done, I've talked about it before, and I've done a review, I think, specifically of Foundations A, so I'll have that linked here as well. And that it continues with phonics. I introduce them to just one sound for each letter to start with, and then Logic of English, though, introduces several sounds for the ones that have several sounds, so things like, well, vowels, obviously, so instead of just a, it's a. And there's also some, consonants that make multiple sounds, like G, for example, says g, j. So it makes those 2 sounds. So that'll be introduced as far as that as well. And so that's reading practice. Writing goes hand in hand with that. And we've been practicing her writing. We trace the sandpaper letters. We practice writing them. We're starting to practice putting letters together into words. She also practiced writing numbers as part of her math and also for writing. And I'm going to do a separate video on the steps I do because it was a little bit harder to find information specifically on like the Montessori method for writing. And I think a lot of people just end up using a workbook, which is fine. But I like the more, I feel like my kids do better with a more tactile progression, I guess, is a good way to put it. So I'm going to talk about using like Montessori inspired and what information I could find for the Montessori method and using that to teach handwriting. We're also going to be doing some geometry. That's something, the geometry cabinet in Montessori, as well as the geometric solids, that they do normally, I think, a little bit earlier when they're a little younger. It's supposed to be right after they finish the bulk of the sensorial materials, like the pink tower and the brown stair, but we haven't really gotten to it. So we started, but I'm going to put a little bit more attention on that this year, get to that. And we're also going to do, and I talked about this in family subjects as well, a focus on time and reading the clock. So that's also it's kind of a thing that I'll be focusing with her more on than anyone else. So she might also have some separate work with that. And then the last things that are more individual for her are life skills and handwork. So I mentioned in the group video that I'm going to try to pay more attention to my kindergartner and preschooler helping with cooking and baking sometimes. And she really enjoys doing that. We got like a kid's knife set that's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like they're serrated knives, so they can cut through things, but they're not super sharp. And I also have crinkle cutter knives that they can just like use both hands on top and push down on. So she can help with that kind of thing. And we've been working on making sure we get dressed every day and things like washing hands, which she's actually very good at, and brushing teeth and all that kind of life skill stuff. We're also going to start working on tying shoes. I don't know about you, but I have found it, I feel like, harder to teach my kids to tie shoes than I feel like it was when I was younger, because all of the shoes, a lot of the shoes at their age and for like most of elementary school are Velcro now. It seems like I actually had a harder time finding my younger kids shoes that tie so they could practice tying them, because I still feel like it's something they should know how to do. So anyway, I have this practice. This is a Melissa and Doug, and actually even shows you on the bottom. But I do it with them in steps to teach them. We haven't started yet, but I plan on doing it this year. She's also really interested in things like sewing and knitting and such, and so I have some early like sewing with like, they have like large plastic needles that you can do. She's done this before with like the burlap or other fabric that has a really wide weave that you can do with yarn. And so we do some of that and some lacing frames and stuff. And I'm also hoping to get her started with, I got her a knitting fork. It seemed to be a little tricky. We might try finger knitting as well, or hand knitting. So we'll probably do that a little bit more this winter when we're being all cozy. And I think that's it for her individual subjects. Again, if you haven't, go check out the family subjects because there is a lot more there. I will be doing another video on the preschooler subjects, so stay tuned for that. I do apologize that these videos are coming out so late, but this is just where I am in my season of life and when I can fit in filming and editing. So it is what it is. Maybe I'll get them out earlier next year. Until my next video, I hope you all are healthy and well, and I'll see you next time. Bye, friends.